Are you a life coach who wants to make a difference in the world? Do you want to share your wisdom, passion, and experience with others? Do you want to grow your business and reach more clients? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need Life Coaching Today. Life Coaching Today is the largest platform on the web for life coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists who want to enhance their visibility, gain exposure, and connect with clients. Life Coaching Today is more than just a directory. It's a network of opportunities. By joining Life Coaching Today, you will get access to a magazine where you can be featured and connect with over 30 million subscribers. Be a guest to our podcasts with over 55,000 subscribers. A directory where you can showcase your profile, services, and testimonials to thousands of potential clients. And that's not all. Life Coaching Today also offers a free 30-minute coaching session on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where you can be coached or meet your next client. A flexible pricing plan where you can choose the best option for your budget and goals. A dedicated customer service team where you can get help and guidance whenever you need it. So what are you waiting for? Join Life Coaching Today and take your life coaching career to the next level. Visit www.lifecoachingtoday.com and sign up today. Life Coaching Today, the largest portal on the web connecting coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Kiddada as Mary Gray with Life Coaching Today Presents. And I know I look different, but it's all good. I am so happy. So I'm going to do this in and off the screen multiple times because once again, I am frustrated by the glare. Y'all, somebody come over here and help me, like for real, as they say. But good morning. Thank you all for waking up with me. I am super duper excited, and I've only had one sip of coffee this morning. It is Women's History Month, okay? And so we are going to recognize women today, and we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of women. And if you're a woman, you know what I mean. Because our lives are challenging, they are unique, they are all of these fun things. When we talk about women today on this show, I'm also going to talk about our identities. You guys have heard me talk about that for the last few weeks. And the reason I am doing that is because whether you're male or female, I really need you to understand that you get to define yourself. And we struggle because we let the world define us, right? So today it's just me in teaching mode and talking mode and wanting to share with you some really interesting things about my life this week. Oh my God, y'all, look. Y'all see that in the back over there? Behind me. Got to get my left and right. But y'all, do y'all see my bag of laundry? Sorry. You know what? I'm not going to apologize because I know like podcasters and people who go live are supposed to be perfect. Everything is supposed to look aesthetically pleasing. But over here, we don't believe in perfect. We believe in real life. So there is my laundry, y'all. And I need you all to come and fold it. Somebody. So yeah, there has been so much since I last saw you all last Thursday. It feels like a year ago as we are rolling through March. We ran out of February. February was like, we do not want to be the month of months, apparently. So it retired quickly. So we're in the month of March. And since last week, of course, so let me just say first and foremost, my hair, and I think I talk about my hair all the time, but this is what made me get up and dance this morning, y'all. I had extensions in my hair, and that was fun. That was spectacular. However, I have been fighting with my hair, and Black girls, we fight with our hair all the time. We have this strange love-hate relationship. It's a struggle love. It is a punishing love because sometimes our hair doesn't act right. And so, but last year I had thyroid disease. And so because of that, the texture of my hair changed. It broke off. It got really thin. So when I took out my extensions, I was just happy to see that my hair is big. And if you like see some of my photos, this is what my hair typically looks like. And I love it when it is a big curly afro. And I promise y'all, I was dancing this morning because I could not believe my hair was curly. Because for a long time, it has been straight because thyroid disease changes your hair texture. So, as tired as I am, I had to dance this morning. So, I hope that you all have found some things to dance about already, but sometimes I can be extra, and that's all right. And my extra means joy, and I'm living in the space of joy up in here. So exciting, exciting, exciting. And by the way, P.S., I'm going to get my hair done today. So hair's got to get done today. So that is one big thing, because when I look at myself in the mirror, sometimes I'm like, wait, who's the chick with the long hair? What is that all about? That took me a long time to get used to wearing extensions in my hair because I look different. I didn't realize, or I'm sorry, recognize who I was when I looked in the mirror. So today I feel joyous because I am not the other fraction of a person of Kiddada. I am fully Kiddada today. And for that, that means like my natural hair is out. I can touch it, I can feel it. It's curly. So, yeah, I'm joyous today about that. Other thing. So, I took a road trip. And so I'm talking about two things because the desk of what's on the desk of Kiddada today involves my road trip. So let's start there. So I went to Selma, Alabama this past weekend for the Selma Jubilee. And that is in reference to, and I'm going to lean and look at my cell phone because my memory is not the best, but I want to get everything right. It was the 59th year celebration, in quotation marks, um, around the Selma Rights Act of 1965 in Selma, Alabama. Before I delve too much into that, though, I just want to say road tripping, if you live in the South, going to certain places in the South comes with much responsibility, y'all. And that responsibility means that when you stop, don't stop at a Chevron. Don't stop at a QT, a racetrack, or Exxon, or whatever, right? You have to stop in two places. So the first one is Buc-ee's. So I have my Buc-ee the Beaver. So Buc-ee's, I don't know if y'all have never been to Buc-ee's, but Buc-ee is my jam. I have grown to love Buc-ee's more and more. And that is because they have some of the best brisket. And I was not a brisket girl until my daughter attended Berry College in Atlanta, and they built a Buc-ee's. And when I would go up there, she was like, "Mom, you have got to go try this chopped brisket sandwich, the sliced brisket sandwich." And Buc-ee's is like the Walmart of like gas stations. Like, I think, the truck stops were like Love, those were like the big ones. And then there's Buc-ee's. You can shop for everything and anything in Buc-ee's, and it is a whole mood, y'all, an entire mood. So this is my little Buc-ee's. I love my Buc-ee's. If you go to my page, my Facebook page, Kiddada as Merritt Gray, or if you find me on TikTok, Kiddada as Merritt Gray, you will see me in Buc-ee's. I took a picture. And so I love this. And so, y'all, I'm about to take all the clothes off because I'm hot this morning. The other stop you have to make is if you're hungry, not only if you go to Buc-ee's. Now, this is where I'm giving y'all permission to stop in certain other places. And so certain other gas stations, guess what, have this place called Crispy Crunchy. Now, let me tell y'all, I don't eat fried foods often. I really don't. But I do eat Publix fried chicken like once or twice a quarter. That's how much I don't eat chicken or anything fried, which is amazing. However, road tripping, If I'm hungry, it doesn't matter if it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. If a restaurant called Crispy Crunchies is cooking, I'm gonna stop y'all. I can tell y'all last year I took, no, 2 years ago, I took my mommy and the family to Asheville, North Carolina. We drove back, and as we were leaving, it was literally like 9 o'clock in the morning. Stop, ran into Crispy Crunchy. Listen, baby, I'm telling y'all right now, get you some Crispy Crunchy chicken. Okay. They're not all over the United States, but when you see a gas station that has Crispy Crunchy chicken, stop, get you some chicken, get some chicken tenders. It is life, pure life. Um, so yeah, that's my on the desk of Kiddada. And I know like the crispy crunchy that's closest to me, because I did map it out because I'm that type of chick. It's probably about 20 minutes from me. I don't know if I'm willing to drive, but that's my fried chicken story this morning. Um, yeah, so I was in Selma. Um, Spoke on a panel Friday night having community conversations. Now, this was my very first time. And when I say celebration, I think it's hard because I believe everyone knows the story of the Selma Voting Rights March. This is where King was there, Martin Luther King. So it is a civil rights history where people were um, beaten by the police. This is where John Lewis, we know that he was harmed as well as other people were harmed. But this weekend, I got to meet some fantastic people. Um, some of the foot soldiers, Joanne Bland. I got to meet one of the youngest fighters who was out there marching at 8 years old. And I'm sorry, I can't remember her name right now, but I got to speak on Friday night on a panel. And so it's like 4 or 5 days of activities going on um, around not only the Voting Rights Act, but also what are we doing politically and social just wise, and then honoring and being in remembrance of um, the individuals that not only created, not only did the strategy, but lived through it. And then what does it mean to Black history, but what does it mean to America's history? And so it was super powerful for me to be there, especially now that in Alabama there is a new congressional district. You know, I always insert some politics. So they have a new congressional district due to redistricting and that fight. But it was so fascinating. And then I got to sit, y'all, in VIP area. You know, your big time when you get to actually sit, when they give you a chair to listen to the Vice President of the United States speak about, and I'm gonna tell y'all what she talked about. Not only did she talk about the Voting Rights Act, but she also, that we're still waiting for the John Lewis Act, but she talked about the ceasefire, calling for the ceasefire and for the war between Palestine. I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell y'all, like, the genocide between Israel and Palestine, and this Palestinian people. And so she called for a ceasefire. Finally, finally, finally. As well, and I got it recorded. So y'all can go on my Facebook Reels and see that, because I went Facebook Live. I went live on that. And so it was just powerful. Like, you just had like all of these heads of our country there in support of this. And next year is the 60th year. I promise y'all, if you all have never been to Selma, go join me there next year. I think I'm going to go again next year, because they have so much programming, and they highlight artists, and they highlight children and gospel choirs and the churches, and people come and speak. And I'm telling y'all, it was powerful. It was powerful. But here's what's most interesting. I got to stop at a memorial of my shero. my hero, Viola Liuzzo. And this morning, y'all, I was crying. Even though I had joy this morning, I was thinking about her and I started to tear up and I caught myself and I was like, okay, I'm not going to cry about this, but I'm going to cry, y'all. I'm a crier, y'all. So I'm going to warn you. And and tears just started to flow because when I think about the power of womanhood, we don't get enough credit. Women don't get enough credit. And so I'm going to talk about Viola Liuzzo today after our break. And I'm going to tell you her story in the space of womanhood. What are we and who are we to each other as women? So that was powerful because y'all, I promise you, thank you to the fiance who pulled over in the dark of night and allowed me to get out my car. He held my hand because y'all, it was dark out there to go to this memorial. And I turned on the flashlight on my phone, good technology, y'all, and walked over and was just amazed. Amazed. So yeah, that voting rights march. And I'm going to do something that frustrates me. And I'm always like, oh, I can't believe that people do that. But I'm going to do it today about reading something here. So the voting rights march, the Selma voting rights march, right? Whew, let me tell you, it was a climactic event. And so long story short, right, we have multiple organizations like the Dallas County Voters League, which we never talk about. We talk about the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, all came together. And that's interesting, right? How we leave, out certain organizations. I still haven't understood. Yeah. There's something to be said about that. We had SNCC, which is the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. Those were a bunch of college students. Those were children. Literally, you had 8-year-olds who joined SNCC. Can you imagine your 8-year-old joining a protest march and literally signing up as a member? And of course, we talk about John Lewis and we talk about the idea that we are going to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And if you do not know, y'all, who Edmund Pettus is, he is the founder of the KKK. And they had the audacity in Selma. White leadership decided to take taxpayer money, Black folks' money, and put a statue up of Edmund Pettus, and basically said he was not, like, he was Ku Klux Klan light. Okay, light, y'all. I don't know what that means, but I just think that if you out here killing and lynching people, what you know, what do I know? But there were like 65 troopers on the other side of this bridge. I mean, there were police on horses. And I need to just say to you all, if you've never watched any kind of civil rights movies, and probably if you're like 48 like me, you probably have, because I used to show them in schools. I don't know if they are going to show this event in schools anymore. Bloody Sunday is a real thing in history that everyone needs to know about. And so we are about to go to break. And yeah, let's talk about women. And I'm taking a deep breath, y'all, because I'm going to try my best not to tear up and cry some more because I love, love, love women. And like I said, it's Women's History Month. And I'm going to celebrate women all day today because we don't know the power of ourselves. And so we are going to go to break, and I'll see you guys after the break.
Welcome to Life Coaching State Presents, hosted by Kiddada.
One of the biggest challenges for coaches, practitioners, and hypnotherapists is getting clients. As coaches ourselves, we know how difficult it is on social media to stand out and gain credibility. That is why at Life Coaching Today, we connect coaches like you with clients. It all starts with our directory, where it's possible to create a profile that gets the right exposure with over 12,000 hits a month. You can gain credibility by writing for Life Coaching Today magazine, add videos, be interviewed on our podcast, teach classes in the community, and sell your products directly from our website. Not to mention, we actually connect clients who are actively searching for coaches who can best serve them. So if you are struggling to get clients, have Life Coaching Today help you get more clients. Go to lifecoachingtoday.com.
So, hey, y'all, I am back, and I just want to say I am getting a little bit better with technology. So I want to say, because I got my cell phone up, y'all. So I want to say good morning to Emily, Jennifer, Valerie, Carla, Stephanie, and Kevin, and everybody that's watching me this morning. And so I see that we have some agreement about the crispy crunchy and Publix chicken. Y'all don't understand that life. And Valerie asked, what comes next after the celebration? And so interestingly enough, the call to action was to keep fighting against the dismantling of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Wait a minute, I think I'm gonna get that right. Please correct me because I have my phone up. And so, but in every state, we are dismantling. Let me correct that because I'm not a part of the we, and a lot of you all aren't a part of the we. Voting rights are being dismantled by a certain population of people, and we're actually turning back the hands of time in regards to what is it that, how we can vote, right? It used to be you just thought that you could just show up, show your ID, vote. But guess what? Now it's harder to vote. We're turning back the hands of time in an era that I never thought that I would be a part of, and then most of us would never be a part of, around this idea of voting. So we're doing things like ballot boxes are being removed. That was like the most popular thing during COVID. And guess what? When you make voting accessible, voting numbers increase. And there's a particular side trying to be politically correct this morning. They don't like that. And so it is a challenge. And just something that rubs me the wrong way is that if your child attends college, right? And so every one of us that have been to college, we get a college ID. That is the identifier of a college student. That gives them access and rights to all things being a college student. Well, guess what? It doesn't give them access to. It doesn't give them access to vote, y'all. So they need another ID. So, okay, I'm gonna get off of that because I can be on here all day talking about political raggedy stuff. But that's the call to action. Keep the fight going. And what I mean by fighting is please keep being engaged in the political process. Don't let your worry and your apathy take you out of the momentum of voting and elections. And we have important elections coming. We have primaries that are occurring. We have the presidential, we have state elections occurring, and then we have all of these things that are most important to our liberties and our sense of democracy in the United States. So, like I said, it's Women's History Month. Welcome. I'm Kiddada Esmera Gray. Thank you all for joining me in Life Coaching Today Presents with me, Kiddada Esmera Gray, again. And so I posted yesterday on my page about how I was going to celebrate Viola Liuzzo. Let me tell you something. I got hit with a question because a brother said something on my page that took me for a loop. So I'm going to deposit this real quick. Answer, tell me your thoughts. And he said to me that the most important person in women's history was Mary from the Bible, Jesus's mama. Okay. And I went, well, that's not what I really was talking about, but okay. He hit me with that, and I have been pondering ever since. And so I said to him, okay, well, thank you. Because I wasn't really in that space, but thank you. And I don't want to fight with people in their ideas in regards to religion. But I will say this. I said, well, I thought Eve would have been most important, or Lilith, Adam's first wife. And he was just like, listen, Mary created Jesus, who changed history. So I have a challenge for y'all. Who do you all think is the most important woman in history? I'm curious to know. I'm just curious. So drop it. Tell me who you think it is. Sit with that for a second. But let's talk about Viola Liuzzo. Let me tell y'all this story. So I'm a nerd girl from way, way back, and my mother deposited me, who I could tell y'all all day about my mother, and she is one of my sheroes. And one of the gifts that she gave me was the gift of history, and wanting to know more and wanting to know everything. Oh my gosh, my sister girl, Colleen Dolak, we went to school together way, way back. And she said, she was just reading about her this morning and was very moved by her. Why don't we know more about Miss Viola Liuzzo? So one day I was watching in my youth, so I don't recall how old I was watching a story about civil rights. And I think it was like documentary, because I don't think it was the movie called Home of the Brave. It could have been, but I don't recall the name of it. And it was talking about Selma, and it was discussing the civil rights activities that young people were enacting. And it was telling the story. And whew, all of a sudden, they started talking about and reenacting the story of Viola Liuzzo. And y'all, I have my tissue, because when I tell you I love this woman, and I'm going to tell you why. So Viola Liuzzo, she was born April 11th, 1925. And she was assassinated on the last night of the Selma of the March in 1965. So she was born April 11th, 1925. It didn't sound right in my head, so for clarity purposes. And so this was a white woman who left her family. Okay. She was 38, 39 years old. She left her family in Michigan. And when I say she left her family, she left her children and her husband. And at that time, she had 3 children, including one sister girl that is lovely that I know, Sally Liuzzo, who has spent her days fighting for her mother to be recognized in the civil rights space. So this frustrates me too. And so what happened was, so Viola had worked, right? I kind of like to think, and one day when Sally's strong enough, I want her on the show so I can ask her about her mother, because she married a Teamster. And so I hope that she kind of got a little extra fight, because apparently Viola already had the fight in her, y'all. At 39, she decided she was going to re-enter school, and she wanted to be a student reporter. And she got affiliated and aligned with the civil rights movement. She saw what was happening in the South and decided that she does not appreciate, she could not understand the injustice. Because let me tell you something. What we fail to realize in the United States is that when white people of different ethnic backgrounds, like Viola's family, came here, like the last name Liuzzo, they were not really welcomed into whiteness. And what I mean by whiteness is that, I'll turn my alarm off. When I say about whiteness, that means white Protestant that came from England. That was the standard, and still has prevailingly been the standard of to deem to be white. And so when you have Italian Americans, when you have Italians coming into this country, they were not welcomed. So they had extreme hardship as well. They didn't have it as bad as Black people, but I don't believe in oppression Olympics, but they struggled too until they became more assimilated into white American culture. So to have Miss Viola decide that she was going to say, wait a minute, this is unjust, and I want to be of service and go to Selma. She took the call to action when Martin Luther King said, I need you all to come forward and come down here and not only see, because it was hidden, because we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have TikTok, we damn sure didn't have cell phones. So Miss Viola went down and she saw the injustice and she started to record, and she utilized what she had and what she could. And so I see that we have tried to reach out to Sally Liuzzo, her daughter, to see if she's watching. But I'm going to tell you all something. This is a hard story to tell, and this must be a hard story to hear as a child of someone who was murdered. Assassinated. And so, so if Sally doesn't join, I understand. I understand with the full grace and understanding of love in that space for her mother. But there was something about her, like when I tell you all, women do not get the credit that we deserve in the amount of strength that we have. And so she left her children. She went to Selma and she watched. But while she was watching, people were watching her. So the Ku Klux Klan is in Selma watching this march, and they had decided that they were trying to kill Martin Luther King. And that was the goal, because guess what? If you do that, you can end. The hope was, hopefully, if we kill Martin Luther King Jr., we can stop all of these shenanigans that they thought, why are these Black people really trying to fight for their rights? And one evening, as she was taking a young man, and I forgot to write his name. So let me back up. So the march occurs. They cross the bridge. There were two Ku Klux Klan members watching. And then they decided that they couldn't get access to King, but they saw Miss Viola Liuzzo. And if you were a white person that sided and was in partnership with Black people during 1965, during 1950, during 1930, you were on the hit list, okay? And so they were not happy with Miss Viola, and they decided that they were going to follow her. And in following her, so she decided she was going to take a young man with her. She was driving him somewhere. And this is what I'm watching as a young woman. And I'm going, what in the world? And I can only imagine the fear that she had, because she was driving down Highway 80 at 80 miles per hour as they were chasing her in the car. And what they did was they ended up pulling their car up alongside of her. And when I tell y'all, this is not a metropolitan area, this is the country. And I promise you, what I saw this past weekend was exactly what it looked like, but with just a little bit more houses in 1965. So there was nothing there except for grass. And this stuck with me, like there was a hill, because it was beautiful. Honestly, on a good sunny day, this would be picturesque, beautiful. And they pulled alongside her and they shot into her car. And all because she was there to fight for not only voting rights on behalf of Black and brown individuals, but because this was a white woman. How dare she use her power to try to use it and give it to other people? And they shot through the window of her car on Highway 80. And the car veered off. And the young man, I'm so sorry, I cannot remember his name. He survived only because when she was shot, her blood went on to him, and he pretended to be dead. And so they assassinated that sister. And I'm just going to tell you that small, dark two-lane. Yep. Thank you, Kevin. I just to point that out. It was back then, right? It was a small, dark two-lane highway with no lights. Can y'all imagine? When I tell you this was a badass sister, and I don't know why it stuck with me all these years. And I was blessed this weekend to go to her memorial, y'all. I couldn't pray enough. I couldn't praise her enough. And thank God the FBI was in town, because the next morning they arrested those bastards who shot her. And I'm so humbled by the fact that this is a woman who stood in her power. Because I don't know, y'all. I really don't know the conversation that she had with her husband. Because I promise you, in the 1965 is damn sure not 2024. Where you're like, honey, listen, I'm about to go to this protest. I'll be right back. Because not only did she leave, so she left 3 states away. More, I don't know. That's my state mathing, I think. My travel math, I'm going to say she was 3 states away. But she never went home. She never went home, y'all. And so I celebrate Miss Viola Liuzzo today, and I say her name proudly, and I say it with tears in my eyes, and I say it with a full chest of pride and joy of being a woman. And I celebrate women today too, because women, I'm going to tell, like I said, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we need to learn how to celebrate each other. We have to learn how not to be competitive against each other. And we have to have joy. Sorry, y'all. Even though I'm wiping my tears away, I have so much joy about being a woman. And Miss Viola taught me, just even in the space of womanhood and with my mother. And I saw my mother endure domestic violence. I saw my mother endure indiscretions. And so if you're a family member on here, I'm only going to tell the truth. So as we say back home, run tell that, but it is what it is here. And so I knew and understood. I was a little girl who was taught about strength of womanhood. And when we have identity challenges as women, and by what I mean by that is when we allow other people to define us, we lose ourselves and we lose our power. And Miss Viola taught me that I could fight for what's right. I could fight for the injustices of people in general, but also in the space of women. There's something called social identity theory. And basically what social identity theory is, and trust me, if you're not someone that believes in psychology and so forth, I want you to sit with this, because it basically says who you are in the space of a group. And when you are in that group, you accept the norms, the values, the cultural nuances, the behaviors of that group. You layer that on. And so, but for women, we get so inundated with all of these titles that we lose ourselves and we don't know who we are. And I'm a big believer in African theology and African liberation. And one of the things that Africans do as a descendant of Africans and being of African descent, I just want to say that naming is so important. It is so important of identity. And that's why what we name ourselves, what we name our children lends itself to energy. So those titles that we give ourselves are so important. And it made me think, for women, when did we first get named? Sit with that a second. Because if it is true that Adam and Eve were created by a higher power, which always gets male energy, does that mean that we were named by man? That we were named women? Eve was named by man. And so that can be a blessing, or a curse. And so what I say to you about that is, when you don't get to identify or accept the identification that's given to you, you are completely lost as women. So if Eve didn't name herself, she already had something layered on her that I don't know. I don't know if Eve didn't want it. I know Lilith didn't want it, because Lilith was like, bump this. I'm gonna go be with the fairies if you believe that story. And she wanted to go live her own life. So that was a very interesting telling of biblical history that people don't know. But women, we are challenged. I was on a call last night with a group of women, and one of the sister girls said, I just don't have this self-worth. She lived her life for her parents. She doesn't know who she is as a woman. That's sad. Okay? Because we can be a mother, we can be a teacher, we can be whatever it is, and we have lost ourselves. So I have a saying sometimes, what face are you wearing today, sister? Do you recognize that face? Because listen, in 2024, with the advent of great technology, women are struggling with identity, because we have, and I'm going to bring the men into this, we have a bunch of men out here telling women who they should be. Who should they be? You got red pill podcasts. You got men out here telling women they need to be soft. They can't make money. They don't want them to be powerful. They need to be in their feminine, because guess what? If they work, if they use their voice, if that what God gave them, then that is being masculine. We've got these women out here talking about being trad wives. I'm just going to tell you, the traditional wife model can't work in 2024 unless your husband is a multimillionaire, because most men are making on average somewhere, let's call it $60,000. You can't even afford rent. And so when we are looking at who we are, we have to define it for ourselves first. And we can't be in competition with other women to do so. Did you know that women bully women starting around the age of 2? Hear me when I say this. So little girls start bullying each other at the age of 2. Imagine that. Do you know where they get that from? They get that from other women. They get that from their mothers, because they hear their mothers gossiping, because gossiping is actually a space of bullying. That's wild to me. And I studied adult bullying amongst women. And so imagine a 2-year-old bullying another 2-year-old little girl, and then it peaks. It starts to peak in middle school, and girls are being competitive against each other. There's jealousy, there's a lack of empathy. And I'm going to hit you all with something that is crazy, crazy, sisters of all shades, my Black sisters, my white sisters, my Hispanic sisters, my all sisters, that do you know, if we were to tell the truth, and we're going to tell the truth this morning, that the competition and the bullying, let me say this, I'm sorry, let me start all over. The bullying is caused by competition because we want attention of little boys. I just want to tell y'all that. We don't want to say that aloud. We don't want to claim it. And that moves us into adulthood. Adulthood, that we still have this competition amongst other women against each other around who's the prettiest, who's that, how do I get the attention? Do you know the greatest skill that you can have as a woman is to go to another woman and not live in your space of jealousy, but live in the space of, sis, can you tell me? Let me just say this again. Be brave enough to be able to go to another woman and say, sis, can you tell me where you got that outfit? How did you get your job? How did you move up? How? Can you share with me how? Because when you are able to do that, you can dismantle the jealousy, this idea of competition. You can dismantle that thing, but you have to deal with your own insecurities, right? And your insecurities are driven by the fact that you don't know who you are because you are layered on with all these other identities that you did not name for yourself. I just need to tell y'all that. You all, I hope you all can hear that this is near and dear to my heart because I have been a woman who has lost her identity, and I have reclaimed and still am in the space of reclaiming identity. And I know this is supposed to be a celebration of women, but guess what? We cannot celebrate without telling the truth. And sometimes we need to tell the truth because that, as they say, the truth will set us free. So I gave you one task, right? Be able to go to another woman and ask the question. Dismantle that idea of competition amongst women. We don't need it. I'm also going to say, dismantle the idea that I can't tell my sister girl the truth. And on the other side of that, I have to dismantle this idea that I can't accept the truth. Because sometimes what we're doing does not fit. It doesn't even fit our character. I have sister girls in my life who will check me hard. Don't none of y'all say anything on Facebook about it either. because I got sister girls who will check me when I'm wrong. And I also want to say that I have harmed women. I am not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. And I have harmed sisters that they probably didn't even know I was harming them. But it sits with me in my space. And maybe that's why I do the work that I do. Maybe that's the reason why I fight for women. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Because I love women so much. I love my sisters so much that I hate to see women struggle. I hate to see women that lose their voices. I know what it's like not to be able to lose your voice or use it. And I don't mean to be like downtrodden on men, but I have to address this. I am unclear how it is you can look at your mother and treat a woman badly. I am unclear about that. I'm unclear about how you can treat somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's auntie poorly. And you look at your mother and you look at your own sister. Your sister, your sibling, your auntie, your mother, they are not the only prizes on this earth. Because I'm a prize, just like my sister girls are prizes. And yet, the level of protection that men are supposed to have over women, it seems to be gone. Or if it was ever really there, Lord knows it seems to be getting worse because there is a real need, it seems, amongst some men to want to define women. Listen, the women's movement was powerful for women. Things like being able to have access to money or credit, their own credit card, their own banks. Do you know sometimes a woman couldn't get a bank account unless her husband gave permission? Economic power changed womanhood, absolutely changed womanhood, because that gave us the opportunity to really live out our dreams. That means we went to work. Some cultures have always been working. Black women ain't never had a rest, okay? And if we were able to have a mom that was a stay-at-home mom, that was a level of privilege that, oh, I tell you. Yeah, there's a lot of learned behaviors. And here's the worst part. We do it to ourselves. We do it to each other, women. We replicate what men want to see from us and in us, and then we regurgitate that to other women. Like, sis, you are a bad mother for going to work. How dare you not sit and get up at 4 a.m. and bake bread for your family and make sandwiches for everybody? Guess what? There's some women out here that enjoy work. I do. I enjoy my work. I enjoy having that opportunity to use the God-given skills that God gave me into this world. And so I gave you guys some tools already, right? So here's another tool. I need you to be reflective as a woman. Because when I ask you, what face are you wearing? I need you to be able to say, who am I? Write it down. Get back to you. Do you do the things that you love to do? I struggle every day with this idea of I need to get back to me. I'm I ballet class, singing. What else am I doing? Cello, and I am the worst. And I have to practice. Practice makes perfect, but even the execution to go, and we are not able to do that because we are afraid to get back to us, because we don't know who we are, because we are mom first, we're wife first. And I had to tell a sister girl last night, it's time for you to live in your own truth and be you first. You are nothing to anybody if you cannot be you first. So let's practice being us first. Then we can be practiced in having relationship with other women. There are learned behaviors. Men should not be the center of our world. Men should not be the center of the reason why we have conflict between each other. The idea of sharing space. We should not have conflict. And as a grown woman at 48 years old, I need to know that I have other women that can come to me and ask questions as I can go to them. And they are safe spaces. We've got to create safe spaces. You know, I laugh because we have these terms like a pick-me chick, right? And those are the women that literally take the pages of the handbook of the red pill podcasters, and women need to be quiet and women don't need to work. And because, guess what? Hey, pick me. I want to be with you. Relationships. So much stuff is related to the male population and how we move. It's ridiculous. And I pause for a second to say, as I think about the sister girls I had on my call last night, that it is amazing to be able to stand in your own power. It really is. Miss Viola Liuzzo stood in her own power, y'all. And she lost her life for it. I can't imagine the level of fear that she was going through. But what I do understand is when women stand in their power, they lose a lot of things. And that fear of loss keeps us beholden to things that do not serve us. So the idea of having a mate and quieting our spirits to have a mate does not serve us, but we do it. The idea of quieting our voices at work so that way we can fit in a mold or we can keep our jobs. And don't get me wrong, we need to work. But being quiet does not let us live ourselves and our life as brightly and wholly as we're supposed to. And that's WHOLL. Holy, or WHOLEY. Y'all spell it for me. but there's loss and there's fear. But you don't want to live your life in fear, because that is just a shell of you. You're just a shell of yourself. Okay. And I shared, and I know I'm going to talk about relationships for a minute, and I can only talk about my own relationships. And I shared with the group of women, because I'm starting group coaching for women, y'all, because I think we need safe spaces that we can talk to each other and share our lives. And I commented that one of my ex-boyfriends told me a long time ago that, Kiddada, he was kind of alluding to the fact that I was the problem in the relationships, because I was the one that always left men. And at first I took offense to that. And it took me a few weeks as I was rumbling in my mind about what he was saying. And I went, wait a minute, he was trying to throw shade at me and try to make me feel guilty. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, well, because guess what? He was saying something more about himself. And I'm going to tell you why. Interestingly enough, I told the women last night, I leave and have left men because if they are not meeting my expectations, then I am okay with parting ways with them. And that may come with shame. That may come with all kinds of things that the world say. But why do I have to endure some of the challenges and inequities or inconsistencies to be in relationship? God, I hope I said that politically correct, because the New York girl in me wants to say raggedy. I just have to say that. But just think about that, sisters. Think about it. Because not only do we have relationships with each other that we need to manage, we have relationships that we need to manage with men and how we relate in those two spaces. And Yoruba, please give me at least 10 more minutes, my awesome producer, because now the sun has come up. I have cried too much this morning, but I'm still in the space of joy, because what I know to be true about women is this, that when we are standing in our own power, we are like the sunlight, y'all. We stand so brightly. The warmth of that sunshine is who women are. And we can't live in fear. And so I hope that this Women's History Month, and yes, we should celebrate women's history every day. We should. But this is how we enlighten other people, I guess, or the world, about unknown women, that we don't give credit for the work that they do. And there's a lot of women out here doing good work. But the question is, are we working on ourselves first? And that's the space that I live in. How can I help women feel like they can be safe? How do I help women? How can I be of service to women where they don't feel protected from their childhood trauma? They're loving somebody who is out here in the streets with somebody else, loving other people. How do I feel with women? Do I feel safe with other women? Because there's a whole group of women that don't feel safe with women. That's sad. We listen, I was laughing last night because one of the sister girls was like, I had a thyroid surgery and we did the same thing. And I was like, look, there's my scar. And she was like, look, here's my scar. That's a connection right there. And that's so simple. So simple. But the connections that we make with each other can be life-changing. Life-changing. And so as I honor Viola Liuzzo, and I always wondered, I mean, I like her name because my grandmother's name, may she rest in peace, is Violet. And I wonder now that if that is the reason why I love Miss Viola so much, because her power and her presence and her choices leads us to know we can serve ourselves and serve other women powerfully. powerfully. And we can do better. We can dismantle. We are old enough to know jealousy about another sister girl is it's so unrealistic. I don't know why we're jealous of another woman. If you like her hairstyle, girl, go ask her why. How did she do it? If you want to know, oh, that sister, she's always dressed this way and it's got you feeling some kind of way, go ask her. Be brave enough to ask her. Be brave enough to do something else that you have not done. Give yourself permission to do so. Because I know Miss Viola did. And I'm telling you, I would love to know what that conversation was with her husband. Like, hey, I'm about to go into the most dangerous place in the country, in the South, in the deep South, deep South, and go fight for people that don't even look like me. Their skin tone is different than mine. And in my little girl space, when I think of Miss Viola, I think that I'm thinking, okay, her husband had to be the greatest teamster like on the planet. It was like, go ahead and go fight. So in closing, y'all, thank you all for joining me this morning. And I felt as if I needed this moment to get this conversation off my chest. And I wanted to embrace you all into the conversation because some of you all have daughters, some of you have granddaughters, and the network of womanhood is powerful and strong. And when you enter into the groups that you are attached to, like I'm a political consultant. I have some of the attributes of being a political consultant. I speak the language that in that world we speak. I get frustrated by the things that we're supposed to get frustrated by. But here's the thing. I know who Kiddada as Mara Gray is beyond that. So my identity is not wrapped up 100% in that space. And that's what I want for everyone to know, that you have to know who you are first. That comes with reflection. It comes with doing things like, listen, homework assignment for today at 8:02, and hit me up if you do this. Literally hit me up. Can you write 10 things that you like about yourself? 10. Most people can't do it. Most people cannot do it. So it's Thursday morning. I've got my cup. I've got my little Buc-ee's, right? My hair is out. I'm so happy about the curls, y'all. I'm going to dance again about my curls. But just know that it is okay to be fearful. It's not okay to be stuck in your fear. It's not okay not to move your life forward. And if you need assistance, find a life coach like me. I believe in safe spaces. We can work through this. But here's the thing, get some positive people in your life that will tell you the truth and that you can tell the truth to them too. So I'm just going to shout out my sister girls. I've got Jennifer Simmons on that, y'all. She's a singer. She's fantastic, Politico. I love her to death. And she knows my other husband, Method Man, and I'm still waiting for an introduction. I have Linda Pritchett, who I'm telling y'all, bad sister girls who know what it means to fight. Linda Pritchett, I don't know how many times Sister Girl ran for office, and now I promise you she has won, and she is one of the baddest politicians in the state of Georgia. I love the fact that I've got, my fiance watching, and I've got my uncle watching, and I've got my cousin watching. I love y'all. And so y'all know, if y'all don't know me, come into my world, because I can go off into a tangent, but I love you all. And so in closing, for the last time, I'm going to ask y'all to do something. I'm going to ask y'all to pray for all the sister girls that are struggling. That's a strange request, a very strange request. And that is so necessary, because it's tough in these streets, y'all. It's tough, because when you are a broken woman, it's tough to come back to who you are. So thank you for allowing me to have this discussion. Thank you for joining me so early in the morning with Life Coaching Today Presents with Kiddada as Mara Gray. I will see you all next week. You all can find me on Facebook. My name is not Lisa, so guess what? Y'all can always find me, Kiddada as Mara Gray. I'm not hard to find. Kiddada, there's like literally 6 of us on Facebook. And we all are in a group together, oddly enough. One day I'm gonna get all of us together. Find someone to celebrate. Find a sister girl to celebrate this morning and celebrate her. Make a phone call. Say, hey, sis. Hey, how are you doing? Because mental health checks are real, are absolutely real. And so it is time to go, because I've got to get my day started, part 2 of my day. And so thank you, Yoruba, another fantastic sister girl who's my producer. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for allowing me to go 6 minutes over. And so everyone, have a good day and be good to yourselves. Oh, she says she's gonna call Method Man real quick. So bye, y'all. It's the end of it all today. But yeah, if I get a call from Method Man, I'm not going anywhere. I'm about to be in New York. That's what's gonna happen. So hopefully. Okay. Oh, did y'all know y'all can send me stars? I don't know what that means, but y'all can send me stars now. Oh, Lord, I'm going to get this right, and we're going to work through it together. But have a good Thursday. We're going to do amazing things all across the country. It's about to be 70 degrees. Signing off from Life Coaching Today Presents with Kiddada, conflict coach.
Thank you for watching Life Coaching Today Presents, hosted by Kiddada Gray and produced by Aruba Saad. Our mission at Life Coaching Today is to empower your health, business, community, and life. Check us out at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network would like to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and spread awesome.